Why is everyone talking about rent to social housing? What is it, and should you consider it as your next property strategy? Social housing investments are quite the buzzword in property right now, and many people seem to be selling these deals. This makes it very, very challenging for investors to decide whether the person they're investing with is trustworthy. Although the strategy itself and social housing investments have been around for quite a long time, in the last 2 to 3 years, they have really come to the forefront of the property investment market. So if it's been around for so long, why is it now becoming so popular? As someone who has actively invested for nearly 15 years using private investment for the entirety of my career, my business partner and I have also invested over £250,000 and have raised nearly £500,000 in private professional investor finance solely for these rent to social housing deals. I'm going to do my best to tell you why I think everybody is talking about social housing. Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. It's me, Johnny Marsden, and in today's video, I really want to provide some value and insight into why I think everybody is talking about rent to social housing and why you should or shouldn't consider it in your next investment. I've been investing in property for nearly 15 years and have worked across multiple strategies during that time, including working alongside some of the UK's leading house builders for over 4 years. My core and main focus now is within the rent to social housing and buy to social housing sector and strategies. I'm going to break down today's video into the 6 key reasons why I invest and why I think others are investing more frequently now too. First on the list, barrier to entry. This term refers to what is in the way of you being able to invest. Historically, to invest in property, you would need a high 5-figure sum for a deposit. Your money would be tied up in that property for several years, and you would have to spend even more on refurbishment. And if you choose to rent it out or sell that property, there's no fixed rent or fixed sale price afterwards. It's all variable. The average house price in the UK in January 2024 was £282,000, meaning if you wanted to get a buy-to-let mortgage on that, you would need a deposit of at least 25% and £70,000 in terms of the financial. And that's not even including the refurbishment cost, associated legal fees, estate agent fees, letting agent fees, etc. However, with rent to social housing, the barrier to entry is much lower. For example, we allow our investors to start with as little as £15,000, and this is just a fraction of the price that you would need for a buy-to-let deposit. Next up is simplicity. Now, I've bought and sold nearly £2 million worth of property, and I have dealt with multiple solicitors, good and bad, on both sides of the transactions. If you have never bought or sold a house before, the process can be totally overwhelming. There's tons of paperwork and you're pretty much solely reliant on your solicitor and the opposing solicitor being competent, acting quickly and efficiently, and ideally not juggling 100 other transactions at the same time. Then you've got to worry about other people within the chain and depend on their solicitors as well. Also think about, are you getting gazumped? Which basically means someone lowers the price of their offer just before you're about to exchange contracts, which for those of you watching this who haven't exchanged contracts on a property before, it happens about a week before you officially complete. Considering all this, plus data that shows it can take an average of 5 to 7 months to sell a house, at a similar time to buy a house as well, you can waste more than half of the year before you even get started. Now with rent to rent or rent to social housing, you only deal with the investment company, i.e. us, for the entire transaction. We have already sorted out all of the legal paperwork and our team holds on to all of the contracts within the transaction. We pay your investment within 90 days of the dates you transfer over your money. It completely negates the headache of your standard transaction, and you can literally start getting paid after 90 days, more than half the time it takes to sell a house. Number 3. Now, some people get a bit annoyed with this one because almost all of these social housing deals are sold solely with the focus on money and great returns of investment. And we don't talk enough about the social impact and the positive impact these investments have on the UK's vulnerable and homeless. I'll admit I am honestly one of the first to largely talk about how great the returns are before I even start discussing the incredible results these investments have socially. But to ensure we are achieving the numbers we want to in terms of how many people we want to house, the offer to investors has to be attractive. So we more often than not lead with the money first. You might be familiar with a company called Shelter. They recently released their official figures on homelessness in the UK, showing that 1 in 208 people in England are without a home. And of these, 2,400 are sleeping rough any given night. 15,000 are in hostels or supported accommodation. And nearly 250,000 people are living in temporary accommodation, the majority of whom are families and children. So by investing in rent to social housing with us, every time you invest in one unit, i.e. one flat, you are helping house these people and making an unmistakably beneficial contribution to society. We are in a fortunate position here where we get to pick and choose our investors, and we generally do not work with everybody. A big reason why we choose a lot of our investment partners is that the social impact is a big reason for them. Fixed returns. When you invest in social housing through us, you receive a fixed return. You do not have to worry about fluctuating interest rates, whether the asset itself is appreciating or depreciating, or whether the tenant will pay. Your investment is made directly with us. We are the ones liable to pay you the money. It's written into the contract that your monthly payments are fixed. You can rest assured your payments are reliable and consistent as well. Next up, the physical asset, or bricks and mortar. Now, this one is a bit controversial again, but your investment is going into a bricks and mortar building and your money is going into a physical asset. You should be encouraged by the company you're investing with to attend site meetings, meet other investors on these site meetings, meet the actual investment company, physically see the project or the type of project that you're going to be investing in. Because rent to social housing isn't a common or conventional way of investing, you don't own the actual asset, people think it's impossible to see the physical building. This just isn't true, and any company worth their salt will give you the opportunity to attend a project. Finally, one of the most powerful and financially impactful reasons that I invest and that you should consider investing too is compounding and recycling your investment. We actually have a calculator called the Wealth Builder that you can download just below by clicking the link, and this will show you exactly how much you can expect to earn on your investment if you continue to reinvest your cash. You can quite easily turn £15,000 into a six-figure sum within less than 7 years. So let me give you an example of how one £15,000 investment can help you achieve a monthly income of £3,000 a month. If you invested 15k in January and in return receive £600 per month in monthly payments. Standardly, your first monthly payment comes after 90 days, so that would be April that you would receive your first £600. It would take you until April 2026 to save up another £15,000, and you repeat this every time until you have 15 grand in the bank, and then you invest in another deal. Between April 2031 and August 2033, you would be receiving payments of £2,400 to £3,000 a month, because you would essentially have multiple deals running alongside each other. It's even more powerful when you invest a larger amount up front, say 50 grand or 100 grand, and then every time you receive a total of £30,000 in the bank, you acquire 2 more deals. I know for sure that I like to save my investments, and then I repeat that process, knowing in 10 to 20 years, I could have turned that into a huge sum of money for me and my family. To sum this all up, and why I think everybody is talking about rent to social housing, why I invest in rent to social housing, and why you should or maybe shouldn't consider it as your next investment, is the barrier to entry is low. The simplicity of a rent to social housing deal when compared to maybe a standard buy to let investment is far easier. The social impact that we're having and helping house the UK's vulnerable, you are getting a fixed return on your money and a fixed return on your investment. You are quite literally investing in a physical asset and a bricks and mortar building. Make sure whoever you choose to invest with, they allow you to come and attend a site meeting and potentially meet other investors as well. And then finally, compounding and recycling your investment, which is such a powerful way to get an original chunk of money turned into a much larger amount within a relatively small amount of time. Okay, that is it for another video. Thank you so much for watching. And if you've been getting some value from this, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. Particularly comment, because I love answering all of your questions and I have generally and genuinely been learning a lot too. I will see you in the next video.